What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today we're going to be taking a look at our Bloodtide Queen Aranea, checking out her skills, because there's actually one or two things that have changed since her skill card kind of being a big impact. One of the things I was most excited for is her burning all the enemies when she gets hit. Seems like that has changed since the preview. The damage numbers aren't look pretty sweet. Let's jump into it. Let's take a look. Start out with their first passive skill, Scorching Shackle. So this one ended up being 1,000 attack, which is pretty solid on her basic attack, to the enemy with the highest attack, and reduces their precision and crit by 25% for 2 rounds, and restores 500% HP for the allies with the lowest HP for 2 rounds. So it's like a heal over time. It happens multiple times. This is one ability that's going to be hard to quantify in combat, because lowering precision by 35% and crit by 35% is a pretty significant damage reduction on the highest attack enemy, which would be like a Sword Flash, Star Swordsman, Mockman, something like that. That could be pretty solid, so I'm kind of optimistic about how that is going to perform, especially since it has a smart heal built in. Now, the Blazing Agony. When the battle starts, or when Self is in battle as a substitute, aka Trial of Champion, inflicts Black Kindling on the one enemy with the lowest HP. So again, it's a smart burn type thing, Black Kindling. When an enemy with Black Kindling dies, you restore Self 1200% attack HP, which is pretty solid, and has a 70% chance to restore 40 energy. That is pretty sweet. The Black Kindling here is when an enemy with Black Kindling dies, inflicts Black Kindling on 2 more random enemies that don't already have it. When she dies, it removes it from all the enemies. Now, this is the skill that got changed. I'll tell you what changed from the preview. At the end of each round, for every enemy with Black Kindling, you get yourself 1 Queen's Core. That's going to modify your main active skill and increases self damage reduction by 8% for 2 rounds. This is the part of the change. When Self takes damage dealt by basic attacks or active skills from enemies with Black Kindling, burns 2 enemies with the lowest HP, dealing 500% attack damage for 2 rounds. That burn seems kind of like a low damage number. And number 2, before on the preview, it said all enemies. That's what I was really excited for. If she could get hit a ton, then she would just be burning the enemies over and over. But instead, it is going for the lowest HP, so it's going for the kill, which kind of has some cool synergy with Black Kindling, trying to get it to kill that target, heal, and then spread to another target. But I don't know. And then, meanwhile, restores all allies by HP, or by 360% attack of HP for 2 rounds, and increases their all damage reduction by 5. This is where I felt like it was going to be really strong, but it kind of fell off. I still think this one, like, just her like, this seems pretty solid. I don't like this Queen's Command anymore. I really don't. And then the active skill, you need a PhD for to read it all, but hey, we're going to try. Deals 1280% attack, which is not bad. It's nothing great, but it's just to 1 random enemy. Meanwhile, restores all allies by a certain amount of HP, which is really good. Then, if you have 5 layers of that Queen's Core, remember, you get that from over here by getting hit, basically, or basically by when someone has Black Kindling, you get those stacks built up. It consumes 5 layers, but you need 5 layers to additionally restore your allies by 22% of their lost HP. So not their total max HP, their lost HP. And I hate abilities like that, because when they're up to full, I mean, I guess it's not that big of a difference, but it is what it is. And it increases their holy damage by 15% and crit damage by 25% for 3 rounds. So that is a nice damage boost for certain game modes, maybe Star Expedition. She might have a use, we'll have to see. If an enemy is inflicted with Black Kindling, Bloodtide Wrath will be triggered. Now, that ability is for every enemy with Black Kindling. Additionally, burns the 2 random enemies on the enemy team, dealing 800% attack. That one's pretty decent. Damage 1 time for 2 rounds. Meanwhile, each attack inflicts Scorching Curse on them for 4 rounds, with a 65% chance to remove 1 attribute buff from the enemies with Black Kindling, and 35% chance to petrify them for 2 rounds. Bloodtide Wrath will not trigger counterattacks or pursue attacks. Just right off the bat, like, such a low CC chance. It's such a low, but we do have to take a look at the tree because that could modify a lot of stuff. I'm not going to activate. Well, you know, I guess it doesn't hurt just to hit activate, right? It's not like it costs a lot to activate our own tree. So let's take a look. So it does lower the number down to 4 of the Queen's Core that you actually need. Pretty much a lot of this stays pretty static. The petrify chance goes up to 50%. Attribute removal goes up a little bit, increases all damage dealt on this branch. When dealing damage, additionally inflicts 1 scorching curse on the target, from which the target takes extra damage. Okay. When Queen's Core are consumed, additionally grants all allies a shield equal to 1000% of attack and increases their damage reduction. Okay, now that is really, really good. And it feels like heroes that don't have their sublimation just don't even compare to the normal heroes, because even Freya has a way to give shields and such. So this is interesting. This kind of makes her active ability much stronger. A shield equal to 1000 attack. What does her shield give here? Shield equal to 100% of the healing. Interesting. So that's 720% attack 2 times, like 1400. So it's not that far off, to be honest. It really isn't. So that right there is very, very strong. Moving on over here, lowering the precision and crit even further. Better healing. Increasing precision is what it is. There's a 100% chance to additionally reduce the enemy's crit damage by 30%. So you're lowering crit chance, crit damage. But I mean, if you're low in crit chance, it just depends on how much, I guess, crit they're running is true. And then increases the attack of the ally with the highest attack by 8% for 2 rounds. That's decent. That part's kind of nice there. Okay, moving on. When a battle starts, Black Killing restores 1500% HP, 80%, so a higher chance to restore, which is pretty solid. You're gonna get stats. When inflicting Black Kindling, increases the target's all damage received by 8%. That is pretty cool. I like that. That means they're going to be taking more damage, especially in game modes where you are not or cannot use Drake. At the end of each round, inflicts 1 Scorching Curse on an enemy with Scorching Curse, from which they take an extra 300% attack. Okay, so it's just Scorching Curse on Scorching Curse. All right. More stats over here. Then we have at the end of each round, if self has 5 layers of Queen's Core, additionally removes 1 dot from self. Okay. When self takes damage from active skills or basic attacks released by enemies with Black Kindling, additionally inflicts 1 Scorching Curse. Okay, that's not bad. Getting more of the Scorching Curses thrown out on everybody is decent. Honestly, I think this is the most important part of her tree, just at first glance, without going too deep into it. This seems very, very good because more damage reduction, more shielding, maybe a substitute for Vesa, but I highly doubt it. Vesa's just so strong. It's hard to compete. And then on top of that, we need to come over to our Core of Origins. Let's see what the first tier is. At the beginning of each battle, at the end of each round, there's a 50% chance to inflict Black Kindling Ash. So that's a different version on 1 random enemy without Black Kindling for 1 round. When an ally takes damage or active skills or basic attacks released by enemies with Black Kindling or Black Ash, it restores them by HP and gives them a shield equal to 120% attack. So there's another way to dish out shields with her if you have her core active. When an ally deals damage by active skills or basic attacks, increases the crit of this attack by 6% to burned enemies, and there's a 50% chance to restore energy. Okay. Interesting. So Black Kindling Ash. When an enemy with Black Kindling Ash dies, Black Kindling cannot be inflicted on other enemies. Okay, so it's just more, and this one goes up to 15%, 60%. 10 energy stays the same. I don't know. Seems okay. I think I'm still on my own battle list here. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see her in combat this time. I think we need to take off that as well. I think I still had a pretty weak lineup set up, so I'm hoping this is a good example. So basic attack going in. See what she does. She does have an A and B, so she's going to be very tanky. Stronger than everything I put on the other side of the board from our Shadow Meme team. Okay, though. So the active skill is 1 target. We get some burns going out. Or not even burns, they're just hits. I do like the little counter attack she has, though. When someone has that black kindling, she does do that nice counterattack. It's not insignificant either. A lot of wow, a lot of damage just kind of adds up. She looks pretty cool. Like, she definitely looks pretty cool. It's not like I'm going up against a fair matchup here either. Like, we got the one black kindling here, even though it's red. I wish they would. Oh, so there's the 2 black kindling it gets applied, or is it scorch? Oh man, there's so many effects here. I guess we need to look to see, is there a black kindling? Like, what's the difference between the 2 effects that we are seeing? Just so we can understand stuff. We have black kindling. We'll have to look at her for her queen's core. And it's just the burn there. I guess the burn is just a burn. It's not like anything special. So let's take a look at her one more time in here. Let's just throw her in the front row this time to make it a little easier to see what she's doing. Okay, so she attacks. I don't see an indicator for the number of queen's cores right off the bat. That's the ghost from Ankirimaru. See the damage reduction stacks. I mean, maybe it's that under her, like that fiery under her is queen's core, but it doesn't really tell me how many. Obviously, these are going to be the black ash, even though they're red fire. I don't understand that. Yeah, I guess it's really hard to tell what she actually has on her. She definitely has potential. I'm interested to see how she's going to perform with Queen in something like Abyss Sealand. Like, it might be a new push that we can do with having her as a supporter too. We're going to have to do some more testing. I'm going to have to re-roll her gear, get a higher stone, all that fun nonsense as well. You know, the typical stuff we do. Might as well get her set up for all the right stuff. So, that's our first look at Bloodtide Queen Aranea. I'm thinking she definitely has promise, but without doing like, here's the thing with new heroes. Like, it's really hard to test them because without being able to take them up to like 04, 05, immediately sublime their branches, it's really hard to test them out compared to the current existing Transcendence heroes because, like, you cannot compare this right here to like this right here. You absolutely cannot. There's such a difference in the heroes, even just the raw stats. But we will see what she's like this weekend. This is my first impressions. Overall, I give her a good middle of the road type hero, especially if you can get some sublimation on her. She'll be really, really good supporter. Does she replace anybody? I don't know. Maybe it replaces like a Queen on your team because Queen is basically buffing your damage, but she's lowering the damage reduction of enemies, so it's kind of like a trade-off. It's gonna be interesting, definitely interesting to find out. So let me know what you guys think about Bloodtide Queen Aranea. We're gonna do some testing this weekend. We'll have the Transcendence fight most likely running, so if you guys are looking to get the cores from this event, definitely check that out, and I'll see you guys next time.